Khan. Hey, Shalom. First, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Kwakadash, Yahweh, who the word English calls God, Yahweh Shah, who the word English calls Jesus. When they give it up honor to the apostles of Great Millstone, who has taught me this truth. I want to give a peace and blessings to the Akim across the four corners of the earth who teach this truth and rest like to do. So it's going to be a quick video. Lord, the video's edifying. Lord, when the Akim gets in front of this video, quick video through the Spirit. Grab a couple precepts here in Sirach, the 30th chapter, the 21st verse. This is in the GNT. It's good to go into the GNT sometimes. If you're seasoned and you've been in the truth, then I say, you could get into like the NLT, the NIV, and things of that nature. But if you new, to this thing, which I still could, I've been in this thing for some years now, but I'm still a babe, you know what I mean? But my first couple years coming into the truth, like the first, probably, if I'm not mistaken, probably like the first 4 or 5 years, I didn't use anything. I didn't read from the NLT. I didn't go into I recently started going into the GNT. You know what I mean? I recently, probably 10 months ago, maybe almost a year ago, I started going into the GNT for certain different things. You know what I mean? Just, and I feel like unless you're like, seasoned in this thing, you should stick with KJV. Definitely, I don't go outside of KJV for like going into the meat of the scriptures. It's straight KJV. You know what I mean? But certain things like, the book of Sirach, Proverbs, even in those books, you kind of got to refer back to the KJV, especially when something sounds a little off, you know what I'm saying? Or it doesn't have it'll have a word in the GNT that ain't in the KJV. You know what I'm saying? Certainly, okay, that's not in there. Let me go to the KJV and read and see what it's really getting. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. That's why I always advise that, hey, new, stay in the KJV. You know what I'm saying? A couple years in this thing, then, you have enough wisdom to break that, to know certain things, I should say, in different translations. Okay, but basically I want to get into, as you see, it says cheerfulness and sadness. I want to get into that. I know first coming into this thing, it's like heavy at first. You're getting tormented. Your mind is fucking with you. You know what I'm saying? You're going through certain different battles, things you haven't, anything you was going to experience, you're experiencing it. You know what I'm saying? People turning their back on you and all kind of shit, right? And it could kind of add to your hell. You know what I'm saying? That you catch it. You know what I mean? And, but just because that adds to your hell, that don't mean you add to your hell. You know what I mean? Don't add to your hell. You're not more righteous because you could decorate your hell. I remember the elder from Dallas did a video on that, Man, you don't be decorating your hell, man. You ain't got to decorate your hell. You know what I'm saying? We all catching it, you know what I'm saying? But it's seasons at certain times, you know what I mean? That you go through. You go through different things and, and you gain and learn from it, and it adds to your wisdom, you know what I mean? Certain things where, like, you'll read a scripture, right? And you probably won't have to apply that, like, especially in Sirach, right? You probably not have to apply that scripture until 6, 7, 8 years, 9 years into the truth. You know what I mean? Probably won't come across the things you're reading about where, okay, I'm going to be in a position where I got to apply this until 6 or 7 years down the road. You know what I mean? So that's why it's like the book is, for lack of better words, is evergreen, man. Evergreen. Because it's like, there's nothing it doesn't have, it doesn't get old, it doesn't, we did let the animal on the street, a car coming, goodness gracious. And then you got the woman want to panic, bitch, you should never let him in the street. But anyway, they don't have foresight. Some women they do not have foresight, man. They don't think 5 minutes ahead, man. They're like Dory. You ever seen Finding Nemo? Some women got the brain of Dory. Dory couldn't stay on task for shit. You know what I'm saying? Dory her memory be fading in and out and all kind of shit, man. You know what I mean? But, you know, you go through certain things in this walk, you know what I'm saying, and you ain't got to decorate your hell, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's not it will actually it'll cause harm to you. You know what I mean? This is Sirach 30:21. It says, don't deliberately torture yourself by giving into depression. And you see that, and that's a crazy depression spirit on the world, man, because, you know, look what's going on. You know what I mean? These motherfuckers is overly indulging in drugs and like like motherfuckers is overdosing and all kind of shit, right? Which you shouldn't be fucking with. I mean, bros know better. You know what I'm saying? I'm preaching to the choir. Like, we don't, drugs is like not even a question. But if you look in the world, you got these motherfuckers just tapped into the drugs. You know what I mean? Tapped into it. They love it. It's like they can't function without it. And I'm talking about hard drugs. You know what I'm talking about? You know, hard drugs. Even women nowadays, man. You know what I'm saying? Just snorting coke and all kind of shit. You know what I mean? When was that ever something so common to where you'll find, or maybe they just got comfortable. Maybe they've been doing this shit and just got comfortable with showing it because everybody's doing it, I guess, you know. Fentanyl is another big one, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know, these motherfuckers, and these are hard drugs, you know. So you see that spirit on the world of people just tapping into that to tap out of this world, you know what I mean? But that shows you, that tells you a devil is ruling, man. You know what I mean? A devil, nobody happy, even these women. These women, they may, hey, look, you on social media, and they could parade it as if, you know, they can make it look like how they want to make it look like. You got editing tools for a reason. You have, you know, you'll probably take 1,000 pictures and shuffle through that to post one. You know what I'm saying? And before you post that one, you're going to edit it and all that shit, right? So you showing the best, right? You showing the hot, but in real life, man, stop it. You would think this woman is, man, this bitch done been to Puerto Rico. This bitch done been to Dominican Republic. This bitch done been to Brazil. She done been to London. She done been to Sicily. She done been everywhere, right? But be at home with her mama. But you would not know that based off of her social media. She'll never got her true niggas, men too. Men is guilty as well. You know, they never got their true background. You know what I'm saying? It's always, you know, on the occasion, take it, because that's what social media is. That's what it's for. It's the highlights of your life. That's why if you looking at that shit and you comparing your life to their highlight reel, it's like, why, if you ever play sports, is like I played football growing up. We used to have a thing called team during practice where you run over plays and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You gonna fuck up certain plays. That's what practice is for, right? So you could iron out all the kinks and shit, right? You comparing that to they highlight tape in a game. In a game highlight tape, it's only certain plays that make the highlight tape. Not every play. Some plays, this running back might have fumbled 3 times before he scored 2 touchdowns. But you ain't gonna ever see the fumble. You only gonna see the touchdowns. That's equivalent to the social media shit. So you can't really view it like that. It's a highlight tape for everybody. You know what I mean? Nobody being real on that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So, especially these women. They ain't being real on it. Man, these bitches got substance abuse problems and all kind of shit. They alcoholics to the max now. You know what I'm saying? I just had a cousin that passed away last week from drinking too much. Female. But, you know, I knew her growing up. She was unruly. Her sister was unruly. Her other sister is a mo. You know what I'm saying? And what you think is gonna produce? She left 2 or 3 babies behind her, if I'm not mistaken. Come on, man. Come on, man. So that's like it's a depressing spirit on the earth, you know. But, you know, the rulers of darkness is ruling. You know what I'm saying? The evil, you know, is ruling. There's no, there's no standard because the base man is ruling. Right? That's why everybody lewd. Moles could walk around and teach children. You shouldn't even, a child should never even see a mole. You know what I'm saying? And what are you doing? Your appearance alone, what are you doing to this child's brain? You know, they never stop and think about how detrimental that shit can be. What are you promoting? Okay? It says, don't deliberately torture yourself by giving into depression. Happiness makes for a long life and makes it worth living. Enjoy yourself and be happy. Don't worry all the time. Worry never did anybody any good. And it has destroyed many people. So worrying, you see that. You can look at your family. You know the ones who over worry, always worried about something. And I had that problem. You know what I mean? Always, man, what's going on, man? Things, anxiety, all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Which I don't even call it that, but just always over worry. Like, somebody call your phone, you're like, what happened? And they calling to say what's up. You know what I'm saying? That's a fucked up mindset to be. That's a fucked up way to live. You know what I'm saying? Because you're expecting bad shit. You know what I mean? Which it don't do you any good. It says, and it has destroyed many people, right? You see that. It says it will make you old before your time, right? It'll make you old before your time. You motherfuckers 22, 23, 24, 25 years old with gray hairs. Man, I'm 29. And I started getting gray hairs in my head at 26, maybe 25, 26. And I'm talking about it's a lot of grays, man, at 29. So when I tell you, worry and this and that, man, I'm telling you, I'm not telling you nothing I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm just now getting to the point where it's like I'm calming down. At 29, but you got to up the faith in Yahweh Yahawashi. That's really what, hey, man, let me be real. That's really what it be coming down to, man. You know what I mean? That's really like, and then you got to study why you expecting bad? What are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, so it's just like, just live right to the best of your ability. Be righteous to the best of your ability, man. You know what I'm saying? Be right to the best of your ability. Okay? It says it will make you old before your time. Jealousy and anger will shorten your life. A cheerful person with a good attitude will have a good appetite and enjoy his food. Look, they always say that, like, gratitude. You know what I'm saying? I say this, the best times, man, that you'll have is like the humble days where you're not like, you're just thankful for everything. You know what I'm saying? You wake up thankful. You know what I'm saying? It's when you have that type of spirit, man, everything is like, what they say, vibrating high. You vibrating at a high level when you have that type of mind frame. Let me grab this. Sirach 33:1. It says, no evil will ever come to a person who fears the Lord. However, often danger comes, the Lord will slack you. No evil will ever come to a person who fears the Lord. However, often danger comes, the Lord will come to the rescue. Scripture says, Sirach 2:10, look at the generations of old. Okay? And see the Lord forsake anyone that abided in them. It says, a person who has no use for the law doesn't have good sense, and anyone who is insincere about it is going to be tossed about like a boat in a storm. If you are wise, you will believe in the law. You will find it as reliable as the sacred lots. Okay? So, hey, scripture say in the GNT, I was reading it the other day, it says, if you forsake the law, then you're harming your own soul. Roughly paraphrasing the scripture. You know what I mean? So you can't have that, man, where it's like, it's always, you can't have it to where it's like, well, I don't need the law. And then you can't have, well, I'm following 100% of the law, because you can't follow 100% of the law. You can't. But you know what you can do? You could be righteous to the best of your ability. And ask, the Lord, for forgiveness really every day. Slaki and Kasai for my sins and my trespasses. Bro should be praying for that every day. You wake up, hey, Slaki and Kasai for my sins and my trespasses. Baba Kasha, Baba Kasha, Baba Kasha. You know what I'm saying? You got people that think they, oh, I don't need to pray. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. I follow. Then you got people that don't even follow. I'm cool. I don't need to pray. I don't believe, the law, man, the Lord knows my heart. You know what I'm saying? But how is that? How are you guys any different? Because y'all both don't pray. Y'all both think, y'all both set in your ways. You both stubborn. You know what I mean? You got one person who don't feel like they need to, don't feel like they need the Lord. They feel like they righteous and this and that. Ooh, they don't need nothing. Then you got another person that feel like, oh, the Lord forgives everything and this and that, so they could just be dilly with it. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man. Nah. Fear the Lord and follow the laws to the best of your ability, and have your works together, and have faith first and foremost. Fear first and foremost, and faith. Okay? So with that, man, long video is edifying. Only I got something from this video. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Makakadash. I want to tell you brothers, keep pushing on to the next. Shalom.